Hey everyone, welcome to Mark of Mastery. In this series, we'll be exploring champions from League of Legends, their mechanics, and my journey to getting them to Mastery 7. Every episode will come in two parts. The first, covering the champion, their abilities, builds, skill order, how to CS with them, and some other stuff depending on the champ. And the second, covering my rise on the champion from Mastery 1 to Mastery 7. Hopefully with this series, both you and I will learn more about the champions in League and master them. Let's get started. Imagine this, a turtle. One of the slowest land creatures on Earth. Now, shove some spikes onto its back and let him roll around in Mach 5, being an absolute menace to any ADC, and generally making the enemy team want to stop playing League. Are you starting to understand why Rammus is one of my favorite champions in League of Legends? What? That doesn't convince you? Well, after this video, I'm sure you'll start seeing things my way. Rammus is an older champion. His kit exemplifies that. But simple doesn't always equate to being boring or terrible. Why do you think characters like Kennen or Twisted Fate are still played competitively to this day? If the abilities are useful, who cares if their passive isn't the length of a Stephen King novel? Rammus' passive is Spiked Shell, which makes his basic attacks do additional magic damage based on his armor. His Q is Powerball, giving him ramping movement speed as well as knocking up and slowing any enemy's hit. His W is Defensive Ball Curl. During this ability, Rammus gains extra armor and magic resist at the cost of slowing his movement speed. Along with this, Rammus' passive is enhanced while he is in this stance, and enemies who auto-attack Rammus will take damage equal to the magic damage from his passive. Rammus' E is Frenzying Taunt. Rammus taunts an enemy to auto-attack and follow him. While the ability is active, Rammus gains bonus attack speed for a short time, but this bonus lasts indefinitely if he has another ability activated while the effect is running. Finally, Rammus' ultimate is Soaring Slam. Rammus jumps up and then slams down to a target area, slowing enemies' hit and dealing magic damage. If Soaring Slam is used while Rammus is using Powerball, this ability also knocks up enemies caught in the center of it. The range of this ability is extended by Rammus' movement speed. You starting to get it so far? No? Well, let's talk about gameplay. Rammus is a jungler. Alright, now that I've lost about 90% of the people watching this, let's talk about his clear, gank opportunities, and itemization. First, let's talk about ban phase. Rammus struggles into extended AP damage champions. Lilia, Karthus, Diana, if she's ahead, are all very difficult to play into. Trundle also, though if you're playing any sort of tank, you probably don't want to be dealing with Trundle anyway. I tend to ban Diana or, surprisingly, Volibear. I just can't seem to break through the big bear sometimes. Maybe that's just me. Alright, we've started the game. You always want to take Frostfang as Rammus. More often than not, you're not going to be dueling, and if you are, you probably won't need Red Smite anyway. Chasing is sort of what Rammus does, and the more movement speed the better, so Blue Smite all the way. You have two options for the start of your clear. First, you can have a normal start, pairing with your bot lane to clear either red or blue buff, depending on which side you start on, then move to the other side of the map. If you start red, you go red, raptors, wolves, blue, gromp, scuttle, and then the scuttle on the other side to check if it's still there. If you start blue, you go blue, gromp, wolves, raptors, red, and then the scuttle crabs again. This is more of a standard clear. You can also opt for a no-leash clear, which Rammus is very good at. Starting raptors as Rammus is very easy. By starting W, you can clear raptors in about 6 to 7 seconds, simply autoing the large raptor and letting the small ones die on your spikes. From here you go to Krugs, then red, wolves, blue, and gromp. This is a full clear, but don't be surprised if you don't manage to get any scuttle crabs with this clear. I would choose this one if your opponent is a slow clear, as it'll give you a decent gold and experience boost over them by throwing Krugs into your clear. Still following? Good. Let's move on. As I may have hinted in the clear section, starting W is the way you want to go. Getting extra damage on your auto attacks and reflecting your passive damage on anything that auto attacks you is really useful for clearing camps quickly. Multi-enemy camps are especially easy for this ability, which is why you start your clear on raptors if you want to. Once you hit level 2, you level up your Q. This helps you move around the jungle faster, as well as dealing decent damage to camps. Plus, if you get invaded and have no way of winning the fight, it's a great escape tool. And if your mid laner or bot laner or top laner is getting pushed in, using Q will help you get to lane fast to help either peel for them or turn it around and get some kills. Once you're at level 3, you level up your E for even more clear speed and for easier dueling. Starting from level 4 onwards, the skill priority changes. You max Q first for decreased cooldown and more movement speed, and then E for longer taunts and again, decreased cooldown. Finally, you max W. It's plenty useful at level 1, and you don't really need the insane tankiness the high levels give you this early in the game. All these abilities put together make Rammus a great ganker, a great clearer, and a pretty decent duelist if you're facing an auto-attack jungler like a Kha'Zix, a Bel'Veth, or even a Graves. Now it's time for itemization. These are the runes and summoner spells you want to bring. You go Resolve, obviously, because you're a tank. Aftershock's great, considering the Q knock-up, the E taunt, the R slow and knock-up. You also want Font of Life, because you have a lot of CC in the kit. Conditioning, just to help with more tankiness, and Unflinching for more tenacity and slow resistance, just because, again, you're a tank, you're slowing stuff down, you're going to be in fights a lot, you want to be able to take as much damage as possible. Secondary tree, you want Precision, you want Triumph to get some health back, grant some additional gold whenever you get a takedown, and then you want Alacrity because the attack speed buff on your E is really good, plus it helps with your passive and the W on top of that. And then for your extra runes down there, you want attack speed, armor, since your passive is magic damage based off armor, and again, you want attack speed because of Alacrity. For summoner spells, you want Smite, obviously. You're a jungler, you want Smite. I don't feel like I don't need to explain that one that well. And then you want Ghost for increased chasing and running away if you are in a very bad spot, but more often than not, you're going to be getting in to a fight. Obviously, you want tier 2 boots early, though the boots needed differ depending on the game state. If you're ahead, grab Lucidity boots. You want this for the decreased cooldown on your abilities and the decreased cooldown on both Smite and Ghost, just to help you secure objectives more. If you're ahead, you're going to have more pressure around objectives, so obviously you want your Smites to be up earlier. Plus, if you're ahead, you can counter jungle, and having Smite up helps you steal enemy camps. And just all in all, it's for the best. Though if you're behind, probably want to grab either Steel Caps if you're facing a really heavy AD comp, or Merc Treads if you're facing a comp that has a lot of CC and AP. For your first full item, you'll go Chem Tank. Probably on first back you'll get Bombies, then second back you'll get Boots, and then you'll get Chem Tank on your third back. This helps for chase downs and just generally having faster clears due to the auto attack buff it gives at max stacks. And you also want to grab Bramble Vest. Even if the enemy team doesn't have a ton of healing, being able to force your opponents to auto attack you and then proc the grievous wounds on Bramble is always great. If they have a little healing, you just leave it at Bramble, but if they have a lot of healing on the team, like a top lane Aatrox or a Yuumi support, upgrade it to Thornmail immediately. The third item you want to go for will either be Dead Man's Play or Force of Nature, again depending on the enemy team comp. Heavy AD, Dead Man's, heavy AP, Force of Nature. If you went Dead Man's third, you want to grab Randuin's fourth, and if you grabbed Force of Nature third, you want to grab Dead Man's fourth. So Dead Man's basically will be built every time, but the priority of it or Force of Nature depends pretty much on the enemy team comp. But if you built Dead Man's third, chances are they don't have a bunch of AP on their team, so you want to bring Randuin's to help lower their auto attackers even more. And then for your final item, you can wrap it up with either Gargoyle, Stoneplay, or Frozen Heart, kind of depending on how you're feeling in the game. If they have an ADC that's absolutely tearing up, absolutely bring Frozen Heart. But if it's more team fighty, not as much pick, go Gargoyles all the way. And have fun as you dive into the middle of an enemy team and take absolutely no damage, and then team wipe them, even though all you did was ult and then press W. Finally, let's talk about Rammus's ganks and his jungle clear. Rammus is a jungler that doesn't need a ton of resources. He's not a carry, and nor should he be treated that way. So once you finish your first clear, you want to gank. Rammus's high movement speed and multiple forms of CC can basically guarantee the enemy team to waste a flash or two if you show up in their lane. On top of this, if you get behind them and they flash, kills really aren't that hard to get, especially if you have a dive champ in your mid lane, like a Kali or LeBlanc. You always want to gank mid first, since you'll tend to be nearby after getting Scuttle Crab, and then gank the lane opposite of the last buff you took. After you finish both your ganks you want to back, you should at this point have enough gold for Balmy Cinder. If you don't, go to Krugs real quick, kill them, that'll guarantee you having enough gold for Balmies, and then head back and clear your jungle again. After you finish your second clear, you'll want to gank again, preferably mid, and then probably the side you didn't gank the first time. Unless you got kills and wasted flashes, then repeat gank. If you get a flash, go back to that lane. They will not be ready for it. But once you're done with this, take whatever objective is nearby. So Dragon if you're near bot lane, Rift Herald if it's up and you're near top lane. If you're ahead as Rammus, he's very oppressive, and so it's hard to contest him on objectives, especially if he has a team with him. Though if you're facing a Rammus and he's by himself, collapse on him, you'll probably kill him since he doesn't tend to bring flash. After all this has happened, if you're ahead, keep the momentum up. Gank, gank, gank. Just gank every lane, gank them multiple times, guarantee kills, guarantee flashes. Rammus's ganks are extremely oppressive if he's ahead. And if you're losing lane, his ganks are actually really good at helping you turn fights around. So if you're getting pushed in under your turret and Rammus ganks you, you're probably getting a kill, or at the very least making the enemy laner have to back because of how much damage you'll have done. Though if you're behind, things can be kind of rough if the enemy starts invading you a lot. Rammus is a weak dueler once everyone in the map is level 6. If your opposing jungler has a couple kills under their belt, it's best to just avoid them if you can help it. Farm, grab chem tank, and then get back to ganking. Ganking is pretty much the lifeblood of Rammus as a jungler. His team fight's super good, but in the first 14 minutes you want to be ganking as much as possible, making sure your laners are ahead, because as I said, Rammus is not a carry jungler. Having 12 kills on a Rammus, sure you may not die, but you're still going to lose the team fight because you're just going to be standing still as the rest of your team is exploded because they don't have any gold because you've been stealing all their kills. So you just want to make sure to be getting your lanes ahead as much as possible. Try not to steal kills as much as you can. Back off if need be. If you end up taking a couple kills, it's okay. The extra gold can help, but you definitely do not want to have the most kills on the team. And these are the basics of your early game, and then during late game team fights, you basically just want to ult onto the enemy carries and taunt them. And then hopefully your team is ahead enough to just blow them up. And if not, well, getting the carry to auto you a few times and take increased damage as you just go all in on them still helps in getting them to back off, hopefully, and then your team can win the rest of the team fight. Plus, late game, your cooldowns are actually pretty low, so being able to repeat QEW multiple times in one team fight is very easy and will probably happen, especially with the durability update being a thing. So now that we're done, how are you feeling? Did I cram enough F1 reptile into your brain? I hope I was able to explain everything in a way that was easy to understand. I have about 15 champions that I know to this extent, like Shaco, Lilia, Aphelios, Twitch, there's a few others. But that means that not every video is going to have as much detail as this one was. I'll try as best I can to be as thorough about every champion, but just know that on some of these videos, like when I say play Camille, or if I play Zed or Talon, there's going to be a bit more of a learning curve for me, so these videos, the first half of the videos will tend to cover more of me learning how to play the champion, rather than me like sitting here and telling you what you should be doing, because I don't know what to do with Zed. I know what to do with Rammus. I know how to play as Shaco, but if I'm playing Diana, I'm not as well versed, you know? So not every video is going to have this level of polish and knowledge in it. I will say, though, I'm actually really excited to do this series and learn and master every champion in the game alongside you guys. As you can tell by the schedule that I've laid out, every champion being about 2 weeks, we're only going to be able to cover about 25 champions per year, so it's going to take a few years before we cover everyone in the game, which is fine for me, because if the YouTube channel crashes and burns, I can avoid champions I don't know how to play for as long as possible. But then on top of it, it'll just make guarantee content basically for the next few years, just consistently, which is great. Next week's video will be about my Mastery 7 climb with Rammus. I'm currently Mastery 6, so hopefully it won't be too long of a video, more just me having some fun games. I say that, but a couple of the games you guys saw in this video, I played really well on, and I still only ended up getting an A+, because getting S's with Rammus is very difficult, since I'm not getting a ton of CS. Even if I have like 100% KP, I'm probably not getting an S because my CS tends to be kind of bad. But that's okay. Just that's what next week's video is going to be. And then after that, I think we're going to tackle the Udyr rework. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Mark of Mastery. Yes, it's a Kingdom Hearts reference. No, I'm not upset about that. I'm going to leave this part in unedited. I wrote a full script. This is the first time I've done like a full scripted video. We had Christmas on the Rift back in December, which was sort of scripted, but that was more like a poem format. Not, you know, it was kind of more cringy. This one's supposed to be a bit more professional, so yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm excited to make these videos. I really am. I really like League of Legends, and I want to learn more about the champions and about the game and become better at it. But if you liked it, please like. It helps the YouTube algorithm, same with commenting as well. Comment what champions you want to see me do as soon as possible. I will not only be doing champions I'm well versed in, hence why I'm doing the Udyr rework next, because it's coming out soon, and also I played some old Udyr, and I haven't even touched the new one. So that'll be interesting. And then if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. We post Monday through Friday, guaranteed, and then sometimes on Saturday and sometimes on Sunday. But Monday through Friday, there will always be a video going up as long as something happens. And if something happens, that's what the Sunday vlogs are for me to update. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.